what is the purpose of this human birth? You know, why are we here? What is the reason? What is the purpose of a human life? Now, a materialist will probably say there is no purpose. You know, everything is just evolution, matter, but it all happens, humans come into this world, life evolves, and then it's no more. We just return back to the black void of non-existence. And, you know, human life and everything is just a quirk of nature. It's just happened in the universe. And in the vast, vast tracts of time, then it's just a sort of a blip. You know, it has no purpose, no meaning. If with that argument you might even say that there's no need for being moral or anything. You might as well just go and get what you can while you can. You know, materialism, good thing. Have as much as you can get. You know, go and party day and night. You know, because tomorrow we die. It's all gone. There's nothing left. And then others might say that, you know, having a purpose can sometimes be a bit of a delusion. You know, there is no purpose to existence. It just is. You know, and you could argue, for example, that sometimes we try to want to have a purpose in life for the wrong reasons. For example, a soldier has the purpose in life. You know, his purpose is to fight for his country and do his patriotic duty. You know, that's my purpose. It involves killing and all the rest of it. You know, is that a good purpose to have? Perhaps. We need people like that. A person might be completely deluded in their ideas. You know, they might have some fanatical religious idea that they feel is fulfilling their purpose in this life, their reason for being here. And in our own individual lives, you know, our purpose at first might be to meet someone that we can get married. So that becomes your purpose. Once it's fulfilled, we might want to move on to something else. Our purpose is to make sure our children are okay, or our purpose is to make sure our grandchildren are all okay. But all of these things are kind of that they don't fulfill that deep need that every person has within them, because they know that that's, yes, it's all good, it's all important, they're all important things that I've described there, really. You know, to be inspired by things, to make a purpose of your life, to be a great artist and musician, all those type of things. But ultimately, you know, what do they do? What ultimately is achieved? I mean, we get a better quality of life, we get a better world. Yes, that's good. But surely, is not our reason for being on this little planet, in this great, vast, dark universe, doesn't it have some special meaning beyond that? All the things I've described are kind of about fulfilling a purpose within the world, you know, a material goal of some sort, you know, making someone else's life better, making the world a better place, and they're all good, fine things. But is that what it all came into existence for? Because one day all that will be gone. It won't be any more. It will be gone. It will be just dust. The sun will eventually grow into a red dwarf, will expand, will consume the earth, probably destroy life on earth, and if we've managed to go to other stars, well, you know, eventually one day even the universe will cave in and go back into itself again, perhaps, or expand forever until there's nothing left. All I've described is a kind of material existence, but when we look at who we are and what we are, I also think, now what is it? What am I? You know, and I look at, you know, like today is a beautiful autumn day and the sky is full of a beautiful blue and the autumn colours are wonderful. I was looking at it earlier, and you know, when I look at that I think, oh wow, that's so beautiful, that's amazing. But why do I feel that? You know, blue, that's just the colour of nitrogen. You know, leaves going from green to brown, that's just the natural changes of nature. You know, I mean, why should one be inspired? Why do I feel that inspiration? Wow, it's all so wonderful. What is it that's driving inspiration in us? You know, where does that come from? Well, it's kind of, I feel, connected to the idea that we're conscious, you see, because all of our thoughts go out into the world all the time, don't they? It's all about, you know, going to be a good mum or a good dad, or going to be a good successful businessman, or I'm going to be a good internet YouTube talker and all those things. They're all external things, aren't they? They're all external things. But when we come back to the idea of the purpose of our life and why I'm here and what it's all about, really it's about being conscious, isn't it? You know? Because all those things outside of myself I cannot hold, I cannot possess, you know. Even human experience, which could be perhaps endless, you know, the possibilities of what we can experience just in this life. You know, we might not be able to experience the whole universe. Maybe we can, but even what we can experience here in this life, you know, like just looking at nature, like I was describing, there's endless experience just in that. There's endless experience in all the play of human life. You know, it's infinite. It could go on forever and ever and ever. No matter how long I lived, or you lived, or if we lived forever, we could never take it all in. We could never experience all of the world. But is it just about experience, or is there something more than that? You know, I want to go back to this idea of conscious. You know, now I'm a conscious being, but also an ant has a life. He has kind of a purpose, you know. He has the purpose of fulfilling his material needs as part of a colony, you know. But his consciousness is kind of just a chemical consciousness. It's just, you know, it's following basics of it, most basic of instincts. And my consciousness and your consciousness couldn't be put into the body of an ant, because an ant's body just couldn't take that. It wouldn't have the brain power. It'd burst. So my idea is that I feel that we must go through some evolutionary level so that some people can become, so that some beings can be more conscious than others, you know. And surely the consciousness of a human must be more exalted than that of most of the animals, or all of the animals. Maybe dolphins as conscious as we are, or something. But you know, we don't know, do we? We don't. But there must be something with this consciousness idea. I always think it's like a material almost, you know. It has substance, you know. I have more consciousness than that ant has. And if I'm right with what I do with my mediumship, and others like us do, then that consciousness, we've kind of proving, survives death, you know. So why does that survive death? What is it? What is that I'm talking about? What is that, like, form of consciousness, that quantity of consciousness? You know, like some people have more consciousness than others, don't they? Would you agree with that, do you think? Ask them to put it in the comments, perhaps, because, you know, I'm very conscious, I hope, and perhaps you watching this is very conscious, but there are also people in this world that just sort of don't seem to go anywhere. They're just so focused on what's directly in front of their nose. They don't think about the life, universe and everything. They don't think about anything other than the immediate needs, you know. They're a very different person to others, and there's others that are hugely conscious, you know, and people that have spent their lives in meditation that seem to have superhuman powers almost from this consciousness. So what I'm saying is there's perhaps a quantity, and what I'm going to say that quantity of consciousness is what perhaps we call the soul. Perhaps the soul is just a compression of consciousness. It's just a certain quantity of consciousness that we brought into this life and will take with us into the next. So we become souls, become bigger souls as we progress. Our soul becomes able to encase more, able to experience more, maybe able to remember more, maybe able to empathize more. So that soul has quantity, has form to it, perhaps. So going back to the initial idea, what's the purpose of human life? Well, perhaps the purpose, first of all, is to get away from the idea that it has to be something external, that it's something to do with this awareness. And this awareness is what I could call the soul. It's a word that an evolutionist might not like, but it's nonetheless, perhaps it's developing, just like a physical body's developed. Maybe our soul develops and jumps from this world into the next world, and perhaps from the next world back into this world again, to become another incarnation. And that process of growth and becoming happens. So is that the purpose? No, it's not fully, is it? Because that soul obviously has to do something too. And could any of us answer that question? What the ultimate ideal of the endless evolution of ourselves will ever be? I don't think we can quite answer it. But we know that it's something to do with awareness, isn't it? It's something to do with being conscious. It's something to do with growth as a soul. It's something to do with not focusing all our activities on the external world, but understanding that this internal, this me, this beingness is what's important. And that soul ultimately has to realize its true nature. And that, I think, is what the next step of our evolution is. This happens in some of our lives, is to set out on that path towards self-realization, so the soul understands its unique nature. So, what's it all about? What is the purpose of life? I've not really answered the question, if I'm honest, but I have perhaps asked the question in a slightly different way to make us rethink what we mean by the purpose of life. It's not, I'm saying, all about having purposeful things to do in the world, but it does have something to do with developing our awareness, our consciousness. And that can be a whole series of other talks, of course. But I hope that that idea gets you thinking a little bit about what the purpose of our life is. It's all about growing. It's a process of becoming. Is the future set, or can we change it? In my new book, I take a mystical journey to India to do magical remedies that will change my personal destiny. I open a 5,000-year-old secret oracle that tells about what will happen in the future. I meet strange Siddha yogis with miraculous powers who show me how to eradicate the karma that drives events. What I discover changes everything. We can all change our destiny, and maybe together we can change the future of the world as well. Start making that change. My new book, Mystic Journey to India, that has now been made into a major international documentary series, is now available on Amazon.